Leo was not a hero. He was not a soldier or a scientist. He was just a space mechanic, working in an old repair station near Mars. Every day, he fixed broken satellites, cleaned solar panels, and checked signals from deep space. Most people ignored his job, but Leo loved the silence of space. He loved looking at the stars, wondering what was out there. One night, while repairing an old communication satellite, something strange happened. A strange signal appeared on his screen. It was not like anything he had ever seen. The signal repeated itself again and again. It was not just noise. It had a pattern. It had purpose. Leo saved the signal and brought it back to his small workshop. He spent hours listening to it, trying to understand. He used old translation software, and to his surprise, some parts made sense. It was a map and coordinates, not just any place. It pointed to a planet far outside known space. Leo reported it to the station commander, but no one believed him. They said it was a glitch or a joke. No one sends messages to mechanics, they laughed. But Leo could not forget the signal. It was calling him. It felt personal, like it was meant for him. He made a choice. He used his savings to buy an old cargo ship. It was rusty and slow, but it could fly. He loaded food, tools, and the coordinates. Without telling anyone, he left the station. He followed the signal into deep space, past the colonies, past the last human stations, into the unknown. After weeks of travel, his ship entered a strange system. The sun was red and weak, and the sky was filled with giant rings and broken moons. The planet below was covered in green fog and large mountains. His ship shook as it entered the atmosphere. Something pulled it down. Leo crashed near a jungle. Smoke rising from the engines. He was alive, but the ship was damaged. He stepped outside, breathing through his suit, looking around. Then he saw her, a figure walking out of the trees. She was not human. She was tall and slender, with blue skin and glowing white eyes. Her hair floated like it was underwater, and her clothes shimmered with light. Leo raised his hands, unsure what to say. But the alien girl spoke first, in perfect English. "I was waiting for you," she said calmly. Leo was shocked. "Me? Who are you?" She looked at him with gentle eyes. "My name is Zira, and I am your guide." Zira led him through the jungle, walking without fear. Strange creatures watched them from the shadows, but none attacked. The plants glowed softly, and the air smelled like metal and flowers. They walked for hours, until the trees ended in the middle of a wide valley. Leo saw it, a giant stone pyramid, rising high into the sky. It was old, covered in vines and moss, but still strong. Symbols were carved into every wall, glowing faintly. Some symbols looked like human letters. Others were alien shapes he couldn't understand. Leo stared at the pyramid, feeling something deep inside. It was familiar, like a forgotten dream. He turned to Zira. "What is this place?" She answered quietly, "This is the beginning, and maybe the end." He walked closer to the pyramid, placing his hand on one of the glowing symbols. Suddenly, the ground shook. A low hum filled the air, and lights ran through the stone walls. Then, without warning, a large door slowly opened in front of him. Cold air rushed out, and strange lights flickered inside. Zira stepped back, her face serious. "It has started," she whispered. Leo looked inside the dark hallway. Something was waiting in there, something ancient, something that knew his name. He turned back to Zira. "You said you were waiting for me," he said. "Why?" She looked at him, her voice calm but heavy. "Because you are human," she said, "and the pyramid was made for you." The wind blew softly across the valley. The stars above were silent. But deep inside the pyramid, something had awakened. And Leo was already part of it. The giant stone door stood open. Darkness waited inside, silent and deep like an endless cave. Leo stood at the edge, unsure whether to step in. His heart beat louder than the hum coming from the walls behind him. Zira remained still, her eyes glowing in the twilight. She said nothing now, only watched, like she already knew what he would do. Leo looked at her once more, then stepped into the pyramid. The air inside was cold, dry, and filled with dust older than any book. The light from the entrance faded. Behind him, swallowed by the shadows. But then, the walls began to glow. Lines of soft blue light followed his steps, waking the stones. Symbols lit up, some curved, some sharp, none he could read. The path twisted like a maze, but Leo didn't feel lost. Somehow his feet knew where to go. They reached a wide chamber, circular with a ceiling high above. In the middle stood a pedestal, and floating above it, a cube made of glass and light. Zira finally stepped beside him, her voice soft like wind. "This pyramid is not a tomb," she said. "It is a memory." Leo turned to her, confused. A memory of what? She looked up at the cube. "Of a time before time," she said. "Before my people, before yours." Zira walked to the edge of the pedestal, but did not touch it. She spoke like telling an old story. "There was once a great race, older than stars," she said. "They built these pyramids across the galaxy to store their knowledge, their power, their warnings." Leo listened carefully, every word pulling him deeper. "They believed no race should control everything," she continued. "So they created gates, puzzles, and tests. The pyramids can only be opened by a species they trusted." Leo blinked, and they trusted. "Humans?" Zira looked at him, her expression unreadable. "No one knows why," she said. "But the pyramid only reacts to your kind." Suddenly, the cube floated toward Leo, glowing brighter. It stopped in front of him, scanning his face. Then, a soft voice echoed in the room, not Zira's. "Not Leo's. Human detected," it said. "Access granted." The floor beneath them trembled. A new door opened in the wall shaped like a triangle leading into darkness again. Zira stepped back, her face pale. "This never happened before," she said. "Even my ancestors were never allowed this far." Leo felt cold air brush against his face from the new path. The voice spoke again. "Seeker of truth," it said. "Do you accept the burden?" He looked at Zira, then at the dark doorway. "What's the burden?" he asked. Zira whispered, "Once you go in, something will change. Inside are secrets your world forgot, and questions your people never asked." Leo took a deep breath and stepped through the triangular door. Inside, the walls were covered in carvings, glowing slowly like breathing skin. He saw images of humans standing beside alien beings, of Earth shown in ancient maps from the stars, of a war, a great war that tore the stars apart, and finally, of the pyramid itself launching from Earth. Before humans even knew how to speak, his mind raced. Could this be real? Were humans part of something much older than they thought? At the center of the room was a large stone table. On it, a round object pulsed with light. Leo touched it, and the whole room came alive. A giant star map appeared in the air, filling the chamber. Planets, stars, wormholes, all moving in slow patterns, but one planet blinked in red Earth. Then came a sound, a deep voice that echoed from every wall. "Earth is marked," it said. "The cycle is near." Leo stepped back. "What cycle?" he whispered. The voice replied, 10 days remain before awakening." The map disappeared. The lights faded, and silence returned. Zira walked in, her face serious. "You saw it, didn't you?" she said. Leo nodded. "Earth is in danger." Zira looked at the stone table, her voice quiet. "This place was not just waiting for you," she said. "It was warning you." Leo clenched his fists. "I need answers," he said. Zira nodded. "Then go deeper," she replied. "But be careful. The pyramid tests those it accepts." Behind them, another door opened, one without light, without sound. Leo looked at it. Then back at the fading star map. He had come this far, and he could not turn back now. Somewhere inside this pyramid was the truth, and maybe, just maybe, a way to save Earth. Leo stepped into the next chamber. The door behind him closed without a sound. Now he was alone, in total darkness. He couldn't see his hands, couldn't see the walls, only silence, no footsteps, no hum, no breath, Then he heard a voice. It wasn't Zira. It wasn't the machine. It was soft, human, and familiar, it said. Leo. He froze. It was his mother's voice, but she had died 10 years ago. Leo, why are you here? The voice asked. He tried to speak, but the words got stuck in his throat. Suddenly, lights bloomed all around him. Soft blue flames floated in the air like glowing birds. They circled him slowly, lighting up the chamber. The walls were covered in images, not carvings, memories, moving pictures like living dreams. He saw Earth, but not like now. He saw giant towers, floating cities, humans with glowing eyes. It looked like the future, but then it broke apart. War, fire, chaos, screaming. The cities fell and darkness returned. Then the voice returned. Humanity had touched the stars once before, it said, but they forgot. Leo turned slowly, searching for the source. The flames gathered, forming a shape. It was a tall figure, made of light and memory. Not fully human, not fully alien. The figure had no face, only a voice. We are the echo, it said. A recording left for those who return. Leo's mind raced. Return? He asked. The echo nodded. You have been here before. Leo shook his head. I've never been to this place. But the echo responded. Not in this life. Suddenly, Leo saw flashes, images that weren't his but felt like memories. A hand reaching for stars, a ship made of crystal, a war where humans stood beside strange allies, then a flash Earth being hidden, covered, sealed from the rest of the galaxy. Leo stepped back, breathing heavily. These are not dreams. He whispered. No, said the echo. They are records of what your kind lost. Leo pointed at the wall. That future. Why did it fall? The echo replied, because humanity feared its own power. They locked their knowledge inside places like this. They chose to forget so they could survive. Then the echo's voice grew deeper. But now, the silence is breaking. The old enemy returns. Leo saw another vision, black ships in space, moving like shadows, planets burning, voices crying out for help. In all of it, Earth blinked like a red warning light. The cycle, Leo whispered, remembering the countdown. The echo nodded. 10 days remain. Leo looked around. What am I supposed to do? The chamber shook gently, as if the pyramid itself answered. You must wake what was sleeping, said the echo. You must finish what was started long ago. But I don't understand, Leo said. I'm just a mechanic, the echo moved closer, the flames pulsing. You are human, it said, and that is enough. Then everything stopped, the flames disappeared, the memories faded, and Leo stood alone again. A soft blue light appeared ahead, a path made of glowing tiles led deeper into the pyramid. Zira's voice echoed from far away. Leo, can you hear me? He followed the light, his voice strong now. I'm here. He reached another chamber where Zira waited, looking surprised. You made it, she said. Most can't stay in that room very long. Leo looked at her with new eyes. I saw things, he said. Things that felt like my own memories, but older than me. Zira nodded slowly. Then the pyramid has accepted you fully, she said. It's showing you the truth. Leo clenched his fists. If Earth was once great, then we can be again. Zira's eyes widened a little. She smiled, but it was not joy, it was respect. There is one more test before we reach the core, she said. But after that, there's no turning back. Leo didn't hesitate. Let's go, he said as they walked together. The walls began to change again, no longer just memories now. They showed blueprints, weapons, and strange machines. It was clear. The pyramid was more than just a library. It was a fortress, and someone had left it behind for one reason: to be found by a human when the time was right, and that time had come. The hallway grew colder with every step. The air was thin now, as if the pyramid was alive and watching. Leo and Zira moved in silence. The only sound was the soft hum of the glowing walls. Then, the path stopped. In front of them stood A massive black door, smooth and without symbols. It didn't open on its own. Instead, a line of text appeared across it, glowing in red. Only the true may enter. Zira looked at Leo, her voice low. This is the test, she said. No one from my world ever passed it. Leo felt the weight of her words. What kind of test? He asked. She shook her head slowly. It's different for everyone. The door clicked, and without another word, it opened. Only Leo could enter. Zira stayed behind, her eyes filled with both fear and hope. Remember who you are, she whispered. Leo stepped through, and the door closed behind him. Inside, everything changed. It was no longer stone. Now he stood in a white room, endless and empty. No walls, no ceiling, no floor. Just space and silence. He took a breath, but there was no air. He didn't choke, didn't fall. The pyramid had taken him somewhere else. Then came the voice, not loud but everywhere. Begin. In front of him appeared a table, and on it 3 objects, a knife, a book, and a mirror. The voice said, choose your truth. Leo stared at the items. The knife looked old but sharp. The book had no title but glowed faintly. The mirror showed a younger version of himself, before space, before loss. He reached for the book. As soon as he touched it, the room cracked like glass. Now he stood in a new place. He was back on Earth, or something like it. Children ran by, laughing. He turned and saw his childhood home, but it wasn't real. It was a memory, one he had not thought about in years. His mother stood at the door, smiling, but her eyes were wrong, too bright, too knowing. Why did you leave us, Leo? She asked. He stepped back. This isn't real, he said. The sky turned dark. The house burned away. The voice returned. Truth hurts, memories lie, but choices remain. Next, he stood in front of a burning city. Humans were fighting creatures. From the stars, screams, fire, chaos, he could hear it all. A figure ran to him, a wounded soldier. Help us. The man cried, but Leo's hands were empty. He couldn't save anyone. He fell to his knees. I can't do this, he whispered. Then, the voice spoke again. You must understand loss before you protect life. You must face yourself before you lead others. Leo stood up. I'm not perfect, he said. I'm not a leader, but I'm still human. The city faded, and once again, he was back in the white room. Now only the mirror remained. He looked into it, this time. The reflection wasn't young. It was him as he was now, tired, bruised, scarred, but still standing, still choosing. The mirror cracked, and the door appeared again. Leo walked through it, now back inside the pyramid. Zira was waiting, and when she saw his face, her expression changed. You passed, she said softly. Leo didn't feel stronger, but something had changed. The pyramid had shown him his weakness, yet allowed him to continue. Zira led him to the center of the pyramid, in the heart of the Kosa. Chamber was a giant chair made of light and stone. Above it floated a symbol, half human, half alien. Zira looked at him carefully. This is the core, she said. It powers the whole system. It speaks to one being only. Leo stepped forward. As he got closer, the room lit up with energy. The chair turned slowly, as if waiting for him. Zira placed a hand on his arm. Before you sit, she said, there is something I must tell you. Leo turned to her. Her voice dropped to a whisper. You were not the only one chosen, she said, and not everyone wants you to succeed. Leo stood before the glowing chair in the heart of the pyramid. It pulsed like a heartbeat, slow and powerful. The room was quiet, but not peaceful. It felt like the air was waiting. Zira's words still echoed in his mind. You were not the only one chosen. He turned to her, eyes narrowing. What do you mean? Zira's face was calm, too calm. There are others like you, she said, from different planets, different races. They all came searching for the pyramid. Leo stepped back. So why me? She looked away. Because this pyramid belongs to your kind, she said. But the power it holds. My people want it too. A silence fell between them. Leo felt like something was wrong. Her voice, her eyes, she was hiding something. Then he remembered the message from the echo. Someone must awaken what sleeps. Leo took a deep breath and said, "You weren't just waiting for me, were you?" Zira didn't answer. Instead, she walked to the edge of the chamber and placed her hand on a hidden panel. The walls shimmered, and suddenly, the room changed. New symbols lit up, and a second path opened, one Leo hadn't seen before. From the shadows, 3 figures walked out. Tall, armored, not human. Zira turned around, her face now serious. "These are envoys from the Council of Ilari," she said. "They came to claim what you unlock." Leo felt cold. "You used me," he said. Zira looked at him with something close to regret. "I had no choice," she whispered. "My people are dying." The tallest of the 3 aliens stepped forward, his voice like steel. "You have activated the core, human," he said. "Now give us access." Leo shook his head. "This wasn't meant for you." The alien raised a weapon. Zira stepped between them. "Wait," she said. "He's not ready." But the alien pushed her aside. "Humans are weak," the alien hissed. "They forget their place." Leo clenched his fists. "Maybe," he said, "but we don't run." Suddenly the pyramid reacted. Light burst from the chair, knocking the aliens back. Symbols across the walls changed. Glowing red, a deep voice filled the chamber. "Unauthorized access, threat detected." The entire pyramid shook, walls shifted, and energy surged through the floor. A shield surrounded the chair, blocking everyone but Leo. Zira looked at him, eyes wide. "It's choosing you," she said. Leo stepped forward, inside the shield. The chair shaped itself around him like it was built just for him. The moment he sat, the pyramid spoke again. Command link established. Awaiting instruction. Outside the shield, the aliens tried to break in. Zira shouted, "Stop! He's the only one who can control it now." But they didn't listen. They attacked the walls with strange tools. The pyramid fought back, releasing pulses of energy, forcing them down. Leo looked at the interface in front of him. A map of the galaxy appeared. Lines connected the ancient pyramids scattered across stars. At the center, Earth, blinking red. A countdown continued. 6 days remaining. Zira ran to the edge of the shield, her voice shaking. "Leo, you have to understand, I didn't want this to happen." Leo stared at her. "You lied," he said. "I guided you," she replied. "But yes, I also betrayed you." His voice was cold. "Why should I trust anything now?" Zira lowered her head. "Because I know something you don't," she whispered. Leo looked at her sharply. "What?" Zira's voice dropped to almost nothing. "There's a second pyramid," she said, "and someone has already activated it." Leo's heart pounded. "Who?" She looked up, and her next words hit like a thunderbolt. "Another human." The room was quiet, but not calm. Leo sat in the glowing chair, surrounded by the pyramid's ancient systems. A galaxy spun in front of him, lines of light marked worlds, gates, and hidden pyramids, sleeping giants waiting to be awakened. But only one planet blinked red. Again and again, Earth, behind the energy shield. Zira stood with her head down. She had betrayed him, but she had also told him the truth. There was another human, another one chosen, and they had already awakened a second pyramid. Leo's voice was low. "Who is it?" Zira raised her eyes slowly. "His name is Kale," she said. "He was taken by the Ilari when he was a child. They trained him, changed him, made him believe Earth was the threat." Leo clenched the arms of the chair. "Where is he?" "Now." Zira pointed to a red star on the galaxy map. "There," she said. "At the twin pyramid. He has activated the defense core. What does that mean?" Leo asked. Zira walked closer to the shield, her voice heavy. "If you activate this core too," she said, "the pyramids will connect. A weapon will awaken, one so old and powerful it could stop any enemy." Leo stared at the map. "So what's the problem?" Zira sighed. "The weapon doesn't choose sides," she said. It sees only balance. If two humans activate it, but hold different beliefs, one must fall. Leo's chest tightened. So it's a test, he said. A final one. Zira nodded. Yes, she whispered. Only one voice will guide the weapon. The pyramid pulsed with energy, reacting to his heartbeat. Then, a glowing panel appeared beside him. Initiate sync? Yes, no. Leo stared at it. He could stop the coming war. He could protect Earth. But if Kale believed Earth was the enemy, then the weapon might turn against his own people. Zira's voice broke the silence. You still have a choice, she said. You can leave the chair. Let the core sleep again. Leo shook his head. No, he said. We've already gone too far. He looked at Zira. But tell me one thing. Why did your people build alliances with enemies of Earth? Zira's voice was quiet. Because Earth forgot the stars. She said, after the ancient fall, your people hid, feared the sky. They closed every gate, every link. And when we reached out, they didn't answer, Leo thought. About the visions he saw, the war, the silence, the lost history. Maybe Earth had turned inward to survive. But now it had to face the galaxy again. He stood from the chair, breathing deep. Tell me what happens if I sink. Zira stepped back. You and Kale will enter the final system, a place beyond space. Only one mind will return. Leo stared at the panel. Can I speak to him? Zira paused. The pyramid allows a meeting before the choice, she said. But you won't meet with words. You'll meet with memory. The panel blinked again. Initiate mind bridge? Yes, no. Leo didn't look back. He reached out and pressed yes. The world vanished. No light, no sound, just thoughts. Then he was falling, not with his body, but with his mind. And someone was there, waiting. He opened his eyes inside the bridge. Across from him stood Kale, older, harder, but definitely human. His eyes were cold, and his armor was alien, but his voice, it was Earthborn. So, Kale said, you're the other one. Leo nodded slowly. We don't have to fight, he said. Kale smirked. We already are. The sky above them cracked, revealing stars caught in fire. Leo saw flashes of Kale's past taken as a child, raised among enemies, taught that Earth had abandoned him, that humanity was selfish, dangerous, weak. But Leo pushed back. He showed his own memories of silence in space, of loss, of choice, of rising not because he was strong, but because no one else would. Kale's smile faded. For a moment, he looked almost unsure, but the sky turned red again. The system was watching. Only one of them would leave the bridge. Only one would control the weapon. Only one would decide Earth's fate. The sky above the mind bridge trembled like glass under pressure. Stars cracked open, spilling light and memory. Leo and Kale stood face to face. Two humans shaped by different truths. One raised by silence, the other raised by war. Leo's fists were clenched, but his voice stayed calm. This isn't about me or you anymore, he said. Kale stared with cold fire in his eyes. No, he replied. It's about who deserves to lead what comes next. Above them, the weapon system began to awaken. Two cores, two humans, both connected to pyramids from a forgotten age. Both authorized, both ready. But only one signal could be accepted. One voice would guide the weapon, and the other would vanish. The system spoke from the stars. Conflict detected, initiating final alignment. Suddenly, the bridge between them shifted. It became a battlefield of the mind. Memories turned into weapons, choices became armor. Their thoughts shaped the space around them. Kale struck first, hurling an image of Earth-burning cities falling, people running. This is what your kindness leads to, he shouted. Leo replied not with fire, but with memory. He showed the faces of those he'd lost, the silent work in space. The moment he touched the pyramid, I don't fight to destroy, he said. I fight to protect. The stars around them grew brighter. The system paused. Emotional integrity test. Active. Kale's images faltered. He saw flashes of his own childhood being taken, being reshaped. and in the middle of it, a simple image. A picture of Earth his mother gave him before he was taken. He had kept it, even after all these years. He fell to one knee. Leo stepped forward, but didn't attack. "You're not my enemy," he said quietly. "You're still human, Kale." Looked up, his voice breaking. "I just wanted to be remembered." Leo nodded. "You are," he said. "But now let me save them," the system responded. Conflict resolved, dominant signal selected. The battlefield faded. The stars fell quiet. Leo opened his eyes, not in the mind bridge, but in the real world. The chair beneath him pulsed with power. Zira was at his side again, eyes wide with shock and awe. "What happened?" she asked. Leo stood slowly. "I didn't beat him," he said. "I helped him remember who he was." The pyramid roared to life. Energy shot through the walls, connecting with pyramids across the galaxy. Defense grids activated, old allies awakened, forgotten systems rebooted, and at the center of it all Earth blinked green. Safe for now, above Earth, satellites lit up with Leo's voice. "This is Leo," he said. "A human. We are not perfect, but we remember. We adapt, we survive, and now we rise again." Zira stood beside him, silent and proud. "Will your people follow you?" she asked. Leo smiled, just a little. "They won't follow me," he said. "They'll follow the truth." As the stars around them shifted, the pyramid began to shut down. Its task complete, its guardian chosen, Leo looked once more at the galaxy map and whispered one final thing, not to Zira, not to the stars, but to Kale. Wherever he now was, "We're still brothers, even after all this." The pyramid dimmed, the door reopened. And for the first time in 1,000 years, a human walked out, not lost, not chosen, but changed. Humanity had remembered what it once was, and what it could be again. Not conquerors, not cowards, but creators of hope. Because the real code hidden in the stars wasn't power, wasn't weapons, it was choice and humans. They always choose to stand,